It was great. The turnout in California is at the levels of the last major statewide special election, and that was the recall for the governor's race. They just got ballots a week ago, and they're already on track, maybe today, to surpass the total vote for the recall. So it is unprecedented turnout there. It is massive, massive turnout. And I was out knocking on doors there. Mike, who's here in the car, is driving. He's currently there with the team knocking on doors. And everybody that we talk to, almost everybody knows exactly what's going on, and they've already voted. It is emphatic when it's a yes. And it feels like things are moving in the right direction. Here we go. Hey,
Hi.
welcome, welcome, welcome. We were just talking about redistricting in California. We have a team there knocking on doors right next door to you.
Yep.
We're doing the work.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for joining us. We've got a team of a community of people here. And Common Power is not just about awareness about politics or education. We're about taking action. So everybody who you see on the screen here, if they're not making dinner, they are our door knockers.
In Arizona, who's elected to Congress, and Mike Johnson will let her in.
That's exactly right. That's what's going on.
That's correct.
Yeah, they're summarizing it for us.
She's about.
Can we get everybody to mute? Thank you. Appreciate it. So these are people who are knocking on doors. These are folks, and some of them knocked on doors for you very recently. You've got Leslie here in the room, and she's going to ask you a question here in a second, but we wanted to hop right in. First of all, my name is Charles. I'm the executive director of Common Power. We're an organization that's been around since 2018. We are based in Seattle, and we send volunteers all over the country. It used to be entirely from Seattle, but now it's from everywhere. It's from blue states all over the country, and we knock on doors in Arizona and in Pennsylvania and Michigan. We went to 16 states last year, and Arizona is a place that we go to over and over and over again for obvious reasons. We are all pretty up to date on how things are going with your seat. We are with you and being outraged and calling however we can to push to get you recognized there. As an organization that is led by Black and brown people, though, the first thing I want to know is, how are you doing?
Aw, thank you. I'm okay. I am.
Okay.
I'm very much supported by the Democratic caucus, a handful of people that have been incredibly supportive, and my family. I mean, everybody's just like outraged for me. So it takes a little bit of the burden off. But I have to say, every day that passes, my tolerance for the situation, like the little fuse, gets a little shorter, because there are 3 other people that were sworn in special elections this year with this speaker.
Yep.
And they won their race, and in under 24 hours, they were sworn in.
Yeah.
And so the difference is, people are like, well, what's different about you? Well, there were 2 Republicans that were sworn in a pro forma session, which is happening
from Florida
tomorrow, right? And then 1 Democrat from Virginia that was sworn in under 24 hours. And so today is day 21 for me, and my race was certified today. So the governor, the attorney general, and the secretary of state of Arizona all signed off on my canvas.
Okay.
So surprise, I won by almost 70% of the vote.
Massive margin.
Yeah, it was definitely a mandate for me to continue we ran on an incredibly progressive platform of environmental justice, of public education, of protecting our democracy, immigration reform. I mean, those are the issues that I'm coming in knowing that our community wants me to fight for. And so I make no mistake, if I were a Republican, I would have been sworn in. But people keep saying, so what's the difference between you and the others? I'm like, well, I'm a Chicana from Arizona, not
There you go.
white dude.
There you go.
There's that, but
Mhm.
also the fact that I am going to be the 218th signer, because there isn't, me getting sworn in doesn't change Democrats into the majority. But even if it did, our democracy, the bedrock of it is fair elections.
Yeah, that's right.
And there is no argument on who won. And so all of these other excuses that Speaker Johnson keeps throwing out there are just that, excuses.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of your governor and your attorney general, she's hinting at possibly taking legal action today. That was hours ago, right?
Yes. So after they certified the race, she sent a demand letter to Speaker Johnson and gave him 2 days to respond.
Okay.
That
48 hours. I love
Yep.
that.
So basically what she's doing is she is, if this goes forward to a suit, it would be on behalf of the constituents of Arizona CD7, because this is literally taxation without representation.
Okay. So for you, is there like a kind of a sequence of events where you're going to let that play out first, and then you're going to see what Mike Johnson does? Like, are there steps that you're taking before you just kind of decide?
No, I mean, so that's not my decision. If we file suit, if I file suit, then that's a different conversation. But remember that I'm not in Congress. I don't have a budget. I don't have resources that way. So
you can't even get in the office.
No,
you
so
can't even get in your dad's
today,
office.
This is where I am right now. I'm in what was my dad's old office.
Oh, you got in.
Yeah,
oh my
but
gosh.
all we have is, I mean, I can show you. It's furniture, no computers, no phone lines are not working.
Is this your first
not
time
working. In there? No, well, since my dad passed away, no. I came in here. I've been here 2 different times, but it's really the range of emotions is kind of all over the place.
It feels like something to be in there today, huh?
Yeah. So it's nice to be able to like have a key to open the door, but you know, I don't have staff. I mean, so I have a place that I can sit, which is nice, because the last time I was here, I was borrowing another member's conference room. You know.
Oh my goodness.
Well, and essentially that's what I'm doing here. Like there's no, I mean, so I'm literally in a room, but I don't have access to anything. We don't have email, we don't have phones, we don't have, staff. So I think that while I'm grateful to have this space with my name outside the door, that's essentially all it is. It's a space.
If you're saying you don't have phones and staff, I can feel the vibration of people wanting to volunteer for you right now and bring you a phone and bring you everything you need, because people, I think if we rallied, people would come to your rescue.
Well, I know. Well, the unfortunate part is there's systems that if you're offering constituent services, you have to collect, releases of information. You have to have a government email in order to reach out, even though he's like Trump has decimated whole departments. There still is some sort of system that's in place, unless you are in the department, unless you're a parent that wants services from the Department of Education for your special needs child, then Health and Human Services, if you have questions about an outbreak in your community, he's completely decimated that department. And there's certain departments that but
so let's talk about your constituents then, because one thing that you have not stopped doing or waited to do is listening to your people. And you've already had a relationship with them since before you decided to run. You're well known in the community. You've built a coalition that's a part of like who you've been and who your family's been. And after you won, people start reaching out to you. They're DMing your Instagram accounts. They're sending letters and everything. So what are your constituents telling you about what they need right now, how they're feeling?
So there are 58,000 federal workers in Arizona, right? There are 10,700 civil federal workers in CD7 alone. And so you have those that are paid directly from the federal government, but then you also have a series of grants that have been throughout nonprofit organizations in cities and counties, and those jobs are gone. I have a friend who's a park ranger. He is continuing to work without any assurance that he's actually going to get paid. And let's be real clear, they have fired 4,800, almost 5,000 employees in the last day and a half, which is completely, totally illegal. And so this administration they don't care about efficiencies. It's not about like, well, there's a lot of corruption. This administration is corrupt. And what they're doing is they're eliminating services. They're eliminating whole departments that are not feeding into the narrative that they want to share. So for my constituents, what they have done is they reach out to me in social media talking about how, I can't feed my kids. My job was just ended. I'm a veteran and I can't get a hold of my psychiatrist because nobody's answering the phone. I'm going to get, my husband was deported, but he is going through the legalization process and shouldn't have been deported. And I cannot provide anything other than like my heart breaks, but I can't do anything other than refer them to one of our senators, depending on where they live in the district.
Okay.
Because nobody else, it's not like everyone's offered. Representative Stanton and Ansari is like, we'll take over every person that I've talked to is like, we'll be able to help if, can we help them? I have a great staff that does constituent services, and legally they cannot.
Really?
So the senators are the only ones that can. Yeah. So that's also very hard to a pill to swallow, especially when they're like, but wait, we elected you. And so for people who don't understand,
that's right.
I feel like I'm just giving excuses, which is just, I hate that because they elected me to do a job. They did their part.
Yeah.
And so now I have to fight to get what they want me to do. And, Speaker Johnson has to do his job before I can do mine. And so one of the first things that I want to do is introduce legislation so nobody else is in this position again, because nobody should deny the right of 800,000 people to have a voice. There are more constituents in CD7 than in Mike Johnson's district, by the way.
Oh, I like that. Okay. Okay. I like that. And speaking of him, Mark Kelly and Ruben Gallego kind of cornered him a little bit. And they put it on him a little bit. I like that. We need more of that. And I love that they're standing up for you. And I love that they're giving you that kind of support.
Yeah, I did send them a thanks for having my back.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were doing that. I appreciated it. But I have members of Congress all over that are doing that, which I'm very, very thankful for. I had 8 mayors from CD7 send a letter to Johnson, the chairman of the Pasquayaki tribe, of the Honotam Nation, the Gila tribe. I mean, so we are getting a lot of love from a lot of people that are now, at first it was like, I want them to know who we are, but now it's transitioning to like, okay, that's enough already. It's past time.
Agree.
He needs to swear me in.
Okay. All right. I'm going to let Leslie get in here because Leslie was on the ground doing the hard work. And, she said that you were awesome. Okay. You're not just here because of your situation. You're here because Leslie likes you. So
Leslie, I like you too.
I'm going to let Leslie pop in and ask you a question. Leslie, what do you got?
Hi, Adelita. First, I just want to say it was an honor meeting you on the ground. And I remember when I was on the ground, I've canvassed a lot in the past, by the way. And you are really like I have never canvassed a place where everybody already knew who you were. Not only that, but they knew your dad. Like there were so many people who I talked to who were like, oh, I know her dad. He was an amazing person. He helped me get my paper. So I really just want to say it's commendable the way that you and your dad are so involved in the Tucson community and the AZ District 7 community. It's really amazing, and it's not something you see very often. And speaking of your community, what reactions have you gotten from them? What support have you gotten from them? And yeah, I just feel like community is so important. So just want to see like how your community is doing at this time, and like how they're supporting you and how you're supporting them.
Yeah, no, I think that they've been very supportive and are like, we have your back, keep fighting. You'll get there. A lot of that kind of support. It's been so interesting because I've flown back and forth here. And so in the airport in Tucson, I mean, I've lived here my whole life, so I know people, but when you get to like Dallas and DC and they're like, is your name Adelita? I'm like, yes. Where's your security? I'm like, I don't have any. I don't have security. They're like, oh my gosh, aren't you afraid? I'm like, no, because the vast majority of people want to know what is in those files and why Speaker Johnson ended votes early a couple months ago in order to avoid this vote. So I don't, and they're like, well, Democrats could have released it and they didn't. I'm like, well, this was not a Democrat issue. This was Trump saying on day one, I'm going to release those files, right? That was part of his campaign promise.
He
And then
did,
I
yeah.
think they got into the files and thought, maybe not. And so on election night, one person came up to me and said, you know, they're not going to swear you in because of those Epstein files. And I thought, that's a lot of conspiracy. And now I'm like, dang it, they're right. But I never thought that. I never did. Because, you know, right now we were just in a caucus and someone said, and our most famous congresswoman right now. And I'm like, if you want to say famous, that's fine. I don't agree with it because I'm not a member of Congress. So it's like, so you're really, people know you because you can't do your job. I'm like, that's weird. That's a weird.
It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Yeah, but you know, that was one of the things that when we were running for office in the primary and the general, and some of the polls were coming out and it was like, oh, we're closer, you know, Adelita might lose, blah, blah, blah. It really generated a bunch of volunteers to come out. But also, it was not what we were hearing at the doors or on the phone. This campaign knocked on 51,000 doors and made 405,000 phone calls. Like that's cool. And that's volunteers. Like that's not like, you know, we had outside help. We had like worker power, that we're not including any of that. It's just this campaign. And really, it's just a lot of people. And so when people are like, well, the Grijalva machine, it's like, it's just made up of people. Don't be afraid. You can join if you want.
You could be a part of the machine.
No tienes miedo. It's all right.
Yeah, there you go. So I gotta Leslie, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Okay. So when Leslie was down there knocking on doors, she got to eat her favorite food and listen to her favorite song. And I just want to say that if she ever decided to move, I think she might move to your district because the girl felt at home and we were celebrating for her how much she loved being down there. Leslie, what was it? Can you tell us about your time there? Go ahead.
Yeah, so Adelita, I grew up in like a very like predominantly white neighborhood. So like when I went to Tucson, I was like, wow, like these were the communities that my parents were talking about, where everybody knows. Even though Tucson's like a big, even though it's like a big city, when you get into the suburban areas, you know, the heavy Latino areas, that's really where you see like community show up. And like it was the first time where I was like, damn, I think I could see myself moving outside of Washington, outside of Tucson. And especially I remember us being in Nogales when we were taken in by someone who didn't know who we are, and we had one of your staff members, I believe, their parents made us dinner. It was like 30 plus people. They all made us dinner. They were all so welcoming. And I remember I had to refuse a third, and I had to refuse a third plate. They were just making sure that everybody was so well fed. And part of what
Mrs. Martinez can cook.
Yes, she can.
People were driving down from Tucson going, well, if Carlos's mom is cooking, then I'm gonna go.
Really?
Yes.
She can cook. Yep.
Yeah, so I would really just want to say the community that you foster down there and that's fostered in Tucson is just something that like you don't see very often, especially being a Latina. Just the way that we're enveloped, even though like we're not from Tucson, I think was so beautiful, and I think says so much of the way that you govern.
Yeah, I appreciate that so much. Nogales is special, you know. I mean, I can't tell you, every time I get there, it's raining. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just so beautiful. And so when we go door to door, they're like, ay, mijita, ¿quieres algo tomar? I'm like, okay. So it's like, so they let me in and I have a Coke in a bottle. That's like lovely. And people want to chat with you. And that's when you hear, and I loved it because people were like, I have always voted for Grijalva.
Yeah, yeah.
Continue to vote for Grijalva. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that. Can I tell you about what I've done? Like I do. I promise. I also have my
do work. I have make good decisions.
I've done stuff. I've been 22 years and 26 years in a nonprofit, and they're like, "Como quieres, mijita?" Okay, thank you. So it's one of those things where when people talk about I was writing on a legacy, it's like I'm writing on my last name, but it's my last name too. And I'm very proud of it. And so, you know, if that's the kind of legacy you write on, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
Well, we wanted to bring Leslie up because she, this is more than just the political math for us. This is about real people, real communities, that have been marginalized and left behind. And you represent it, but so Leslie represents people like that too. And your experience matters, you know, on the doors and communities with people. If you're leading, if you're following, all those people, they matter and they make up who America is. And Common Power is, we're about the work and we're about the people who do the work too. And that's what makes us different. I know you got to roll off here in a little bit, but what is next for you? So there's this, obviously, the AG's, you know, sent this letter for 48 hours. What are you going to be doing next? What are you focused on?
So I need to get sworn in, then I need to hire staff. Those are biggies. I have to hire staff. So,
Yeah.
you know, my dad had 3 different offices in district and then
Oh,
office hours all over. We can't do any of
okay.
the services. So I think it's really important. And then, you know, this is just to finish out the rest of my dad's term. So by the time we get in, it might only be 14 months and we're going to start running for reelection again.
That's right. Okay.
So we're gonna, I believe the date that we're launching is on my birthday, October 30th. So yeah, we'll launch our reelection campaign and hopefully I'll be sworn in by then because that'd be a little weird not to be sworn in by then. But my hope is that, you know, if Speaker Johnson doesn't want to swear me in, an act of Congress can allow someone else to swear me in. And I'm okay.
Okay.
That would be nice. But the unfortunate part is there has to be an act of Congress. So we have to
Interesting.
be in session anyway. And so there is a pro forma tomorrow. I know the plan is for us to go down there and stand there, and probably be ignored like we've been ignored the last 5 times on a pro forma.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And so
But
you're
really,
gonna,
that's the biggest part, is just getting sworn in, getting office established, being able to, you know, open our doors so we can serve the people, because that's what we got elected to do.
yeah.
Like, I didn't want to do all this, and, you know, I mean, I think the attention on Arizona is great, but I don't want to get attention for not doing my job.
Well, what if you can't be sworn in? Like, so let's look worst case scenario here. What other levers do you have? Are we
They're lawsuits.
okay?
It's a lawsuit, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and I do think that there would be little to no argument of what yeah, little to no argument.
Okay.
And I
All
think
right.
there was a, you know, they've been signing a petition and Robert said, you know, what good does a petition do? It really is just showing people, like the voice and action of people, and getting galvanized behind something and reminding people and continue to get engaged, because my hope is once you sign a petition, if that's the petition that's part of our campaign, then we can go ahead and continue to keep you in the loop as to what's going on once we're in office. And then as soon as I'm sworn in, I will sign the discharge petition.
Okay. Okay.
I have
So
to be
wait.
sworn in to do
Okay.
that.
Is that the other petition though? Is that a public petition that we
Yeah, I think that we have
sign
a
that?
couple. Yeah, we have a couple of online. We have one, and then there are a couple
Okay.
of organizations that are circulating, like swear her in kind of thing.
Okay. All right. We're going to circulate that petition. We'll find yours and we'll circulate it with
Yeah,
our
we
people
can
because
send
they
that
are
to you too.
great. Yes. Yes. Please sign us that. We'll send it out tonight.
Okay.
I will tell you this chat is fired up to do something, and the petition will keep them from marching on DC. Because people
You want to
are.
come with us? We just walked through. We just marched up to Speaker Johnson's office.
Did you?
Yeah, we totally did. Yeah,
We
so that's why I
we
was
would
running
come.
late. Yeah, with a bunch of other Democratic women. A couple of men joined
Really?
us too, but it was supposed to be all women, like these mujeres that are like, no, you're not going to push us around.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I would love. I mean, Leslie, you want to go to DC? You want to go march with them up
Well,
to?
hell yeah, I'll do it.
We need to
Right?
sit outside of his office.
I'll do it.
We could sit outside and have lunch right outside of his office every day.
Yeah, I think the thing is, so the discharge petition is in the clerk's office. I cannot sign the petition without that cute little button that says I've been sworn in.
Okay.
Yeah, so there are two different petitions we're talking about. One is Swear Adelita In petition,
Yep.
which is like a community petition. The Epstein discharge petitions are in the clerk's office. So
Yeah, only you can sign that. We can't sign that. If we could sign
Yeah.
that, we would have had the files
we would have
already.
had it done
All
a
right?
long time ago, for sure.
We would have. Okay. All right. Well, look, we want to be respectful of your time. Thank you so much for what you're giving us here. I know that you and everybody else right now are in DC, having meetings, getting on podcasts all over the place, spreading the good word about this fight. Keep it up. Keep your spirits up. If you need people who have your back forever, come by Common Power and just come and talk to us. Okay.
Thank you. Let me just answer this one question
Oh,
from
yeah.
Susan, who said, can people take their names off? Yes, they can, which is what I think Dr.
Oh.
Johnson's been trying to do.
Oh,
Three, probably applying more pressure to the three women that
Lauren
signed
Boebert and
right. And Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Marjorie Taylor
and
Greene.
Who was the other one?
I don't know who the third one
Who's
is.
the other one? Do you remember?
Boebert.
Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene, and that's the only.
Nancy May.
No, there's one more.
Nancy Mace.
Mace.
Somebody
Yeah.
said
Yeah,
Nancy Mace.
Yeah. So my guess is he's been trying to work that angle.
Got it.
And to take off. But let's remember, there is another special coming up in November.
We'll be there.
The Democrat is edging out the Republican. So
We will be there.
you know,
We'll be there.
and
We'll be in
also,
Texas.
if the candidate that is the most progressive candidate, it is a African-American man.
Yes.
He also committed to sign. So
Christian Menifee. We'll be there. We'll be there.
Really what you're doing is you're just delaying the inevitable. You
That's
might
right.
get out of the way. We're coming.
That's right. And we might steal one in Tennessee, and we'll be there
Right.
too. We will be in Tennessee also knocking on doors. Yep.
Yeah.
We're going to make it really
he's
hard
great.
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you all so much for your support.
Yes.
Stay
We got your
safe.
back.
We'll keep fighting. Thank you. I
All right.
appreciate it.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. Look at that. That was a lot of fun. That was good. Good to have that. Robert coming in with the Nancy Mace right when we needed it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Yes, Robert, we are going to Tennessee.
Oh,
Yeah,
and then he's like, what are you smoking? Okay. All
We're
right.
talking about Tennessee here.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So here we go. Okay. So I said at the beginning of the year that Common Power is going to participate, and you can take us off a highlight here, spotlight here, Leslie. We're going to participate in every single House race this year. Every single House race this year, Common Power is going to send volunteers to go and knock on doors. And so it has been the ones that we for sure are going to win, like Adelita's race. And it's been the ones that we had no shot in winning, but we wanted to shrink the margins in Florida. So we knocked doors in two places in Florida, even though we had no chance of winning. And we helped to take, I think, the most conservative county in Florida, and the most conservative county for a few cycles now, down from R+30 down to R+15. And that's the kind of stuff where you talk to voters who have never talked to a Democrat at their door, have never talked to somebody who is a liberal, and you start to plant seeds that change minds in future elections. So that's one reason why we do it. Another reason why we do it is because we need to know. We need our community, our volunteers, our staff members who inform our strategy going forward. We need to know that deep red Republican voters are movable. And so all of this has helped us to better understand the electorate, to better understand just how moved people are by Trump's actions. And Tennessee is a long shot, but Tennessee is, there are places all over the country. We stole an election. I shouldn't use the word stole. We surprised the country and flipped an election in Iowa. That just happened. We took away their supermajority in their state legislature, right? And nobody thought that was going to happen. There's an election in northern Alabama that was flipped also. And that one went from, I think, an R+5 to, 15 points towards the Democrat in that one. Massive flip. So I think that these unprecedented electoral times in our country mean that everything is up in the air and everything's up for grabs. And so, if some folks are, don't have the resources or the scope to be able to send volunteers to a place to see if it's, if people have moved, Common Power does. We do. And one of the reasons why we do is because we have the program called Action Academy that churns out these Gen Zers that are just inspired enough and educated enough about the history of voting rights in America, and just crazy enough to follow people like me into these places where we need to go and talk to voters face to face. So yeah, we're going to Tennessee. We're going to Tennessee. We'll be there in late November. The election is December
2nd. And
2nd.
you're going down to support the Democratic Representative Afton Ben. We will be down there from November 14th until the 19th. So if folks want to join that, it's on our app, and we will be bringing up some announcements in the coming days about Tennessee.
Tennessee is open because a Republican retired in shame. So the way that U.S. House seats are usually left open, and this is not a joke. This is what's happened this year. On the Democratic side, it's been somebody passing away, and on the Republican side, it's left open because somebody retires in shame or joins the Trump administration, which is also, to me, a retirement in shame. Any other questions about what we're doing in 2025? Because our message today and through the rest of the year is that the midterms start now for Common Power. In fact, they already started. The reason why Leslie met Adelita face to face is because she's knocking on doors in September in Arizona. And before that, she was in Virginia knocking on doors for a U.S. House race there with our team, with one of our teams. So we're going to be in Texas. We're going to be in Tennessee. And when the year starts, we will already be forming up teams who are going to be traveling in the first part of that year. Ben, you want to preview some of should we preview the midterms right now?
I think it's a different question if you want to say, should we preview the primaries?
Let's preview the possibilities, because we don't have any for sure things, but we do know that the first elections that are already planned in 2026 are primaries in March. So
Yes.
what are those states?
So we have the first states on March 3rd, I believe, is the election day. It's the first Tuesday of March. And that's going to be Texas and North Carolina. I mean, there are other primaries too, but those are the ones that were of interest, right? And North Carolina right now looks to be pretty good. Roy Cooper seems to be the front runner. Like, I don't think he has anything competitive in the primary necessarily. But Texas, there's an exciting candidate there named Tallarico that we're looking into. And that's going to be a Senate seat that will be pretty competitive because he'll be going up against Colin Allred, who has been running the last couple of cycles, I think. So, no, wait, just last year. So that's March 3rd. And then there are a couple of other places too. We're looking at Maine. Graham Plattner is a name that we've been throwing around a lot. We're looking into Georgia, right? John Ossoff. We have to protect that seat.
Yep.
And engaging people early is how we do it.
Yeah, so primaries are often ways that we can get to the electorate early. There are also ways that we, to the extent that we have volunteers who can stay active throughout the year, that we keep our community engaged. The thing that we learned pretty early on is that if you show up for a candidate in a primary, then you are actually privileged in the general, and you get sent to the places that have the highest need. So that's something we've done since 2022. We actually went out early for B. Wynn in Georgia, who ran for Secretary of State as a part of the slate that was under Stacey Abrams. So we're not new to taking action in primaries. It's something that we've been doing for years now, and highly likely to continue to do it next year. I want to roll back to this petition thing, because there's a question about that. It's a good question about why is a petition important for us to do? And Robert's our MVP of the chat right now. This is a great question. So the actions that we take as an organization are not always about a specific result. They're not always about an end election. One of the biggest issues that the Democratic Party has right now, that the effort on the left has right now, is just staying in the game. Literally keeping your troops morale up. And this is something that, there are whole departments in the Pentagon that work on morale for troops, on keeping energy levels up and keeping people ready. And Common Power, because we have done this every single year, because we don't just show up for the general elections in the fall, we are very, very good actually at keeping people active and engaged as volunteers and hopeful. And so sometimes you do something that feels very meaningful, and it feels like you're making the difference in this election. You one person are making the difference. And sometimes you do stuff that is just bringing other people along, or feeding into the broader community of people. And it's very much about our capacity. It's about our ability to show up with 200 people last year in the last weekend of the election in Arizona, and another 200 people in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, simultaneously, and about 150 in Michigan. That last weekend of the election, we were knocking on 10,000 doors a day across the Common Power network. And we do that because we do the little things too, that kind of keep us going and keep people active in this work. So that's why we asked about the petition. And that's why when she said, we're doing this, I said, we want to support it. And oh, by the way, if she's doing it, I think she understands it too, because people feel like they want to do something, even if it's small sometimes. Go ahead, Ben, you unmuted.
No, I think that was perfect. I actually caught another question in the chat that I want to address.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's Duffy's question about it goes back to like our decision to like throw out Tallarico out there instead of like looking at All Red. Like, is All Red doing, actually I'll just read it word by word instead of trying to paraphrase. Sorry, Duffy, it was not a long question. So is Colin All Red not doing good work for progressive democracy? And that is a really good question, because he is. Like, he is not a bad person. He's not a bad elected official. He doesn't have a bad track record, right? But something that we have been grappling with, and in a way kind of like fact finding, I don't know, like soul searching, like it feels like sometimes, is the question is that enough to win right now? Is it just enough to have a good track record and be a progressive Democrat and just like, play game as usual? And the answer is very clearly no. And one of the things that struck us about Tallarico immediately was his ability to excite and inspire voters that have explicitly told us that they don't like the Democratic Party, that they don't want to vote for the Democratic Party, that they feel disillusioned by the political process, by how they see themselves in politicians or not. And I think that that's a quality that we are looking for in candidates nationwide, not just in Texas, especially if you're in a swing state where part of your way to victory is to reach across lines, is to talk to multiple demographics and voters and bring them together under one banner. And to be honest, Tallarico is like having the kind of reach that we honestly didn't see All Red reaching last year. So Charles, if you want to jump in on this, please do.
Yeah, I mean, there are things that we know about Colin Allred that are beyond just his values that he states himself. We were on the ground in McAllen, Texas last year. And the thing that we heard from them over and over was that Colin Allred was nowhere in that part of the state. This is one of the most contentious flippable House seats that exist in Texas for Democrats. And Colin Allred didn't have an office anywhere close to that. We had volunteers on the ground, not just us, but people who had been there who couldn't get literature to hand out. Like they wanted to go knock on doors for Colin Allred, and they couldn't get literature from Colin Allred. So this is because we've done the work on the ground and because we have the relationships that we have. And this is with candidates, it's with state parties, it's with 501c4 organizations and C3 organizations and PACs around the country. When we make a judgment call on a candidate like that, it's with a bunch of different inputs, and that's one of them. So if we're looking at Tellerico, we're asking, can he do the thing that Colin Allred couldn't do? And the answer looks to be closer to yes right now. We're not final. We're not final on that. We still got some research to do. But Ben also said something else, which is Tellerico is not he's not singular around the country. If you are somebody who's been watching politics, you've seen these candidates pop up around the country who feel very different from the establishment. They're not co-signed by Chuck Schumer, like what we saw happen in Maine, right? And that should tell you something about change that's happening in this country. If it's happening in blue cities, in blue states, if it's happening in red states, if it's happening in purple states and purple districts, it's happening in places where there's a well-informed electorate that's very active, and it's happening in places where it seems like people don't care about voting. It's happening all over the place around this country. That should tell you something about how people are feeling, and maybe it's different than how they felt a year ago or 2 years ago, and what people are looking for. And we can decide that we're going to choose the same kind of candidates we chose last cycle. We can decide that as a country, and we are. We're going to see this November what kind of Democrats people are going to vote for. That'll tell us a lot about the midterms. And I guarantee you, if these newer candidates that marginalized voters are choosing everywhere, if they are overridden by a more moderate majority, you will lose these voters. You will lose them just like we lost them in the fall of 2024. These are voters that some of them grew up in liberal households. These are sons and daughters of people who were Democrats for cycles and cycles and generations. And if we don't ask ourselves, how do we win them back? And how do we maybe, choose different leaders that listen to these new values that are being raised up on the left, then those people are going to go elsewhere. And they're not going to just stay home. They're going to go to the party that's promising to listen to them. So it's tough. It's really tough. And it asks us to, in this moment, reach a different conclusion than we have for years and for cycles, and to learn new lessons as voters, as volunteers, as political experts in our social circles. But one thing we know is that times are different now. Things are different. They're vastly different now than they used to be just a year ago. And the America that we live in is not the one that we used to live in before. The political rules, especially, are not the same. So we can't select our leaders to be the same as they were. In fact, I would argue that if you select a leader that would be successful in an America before Trump's second term, you're selecting a leader who's not going to be successful after this second term or in this new America. So think about it. I'm not saying that we have all the answers. I'm not even saying that we're fully certain on what the future is going to hold. I just know that it cannot be the same thing that we've done before. Okay. All right. Affordability. That's right. It's a little hint from Miss Faye. Affordability. wealth inequality is, these are the fruits of wealth inequality run rampant. Okay. All right. No more lecturing from me. You can hear some more tomorrow as David and I hop on a Zoom for our Wednesdays. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to cover tomorrow. It's probably going to be dictated by what's in the news, but I know that it's always interesting. And David and I, we come from very different starting places in terms of our own personal political beliefs on the left, of course. So not vastly different. A lot of what we talk about together, though, ends up being things that we don't know going in. And so it's an interesting conversation for me. David and I don't talk all the time, even though it maybe seems like we do. So some of what we hash out on the Zoom is the first time that we're hearing each other say it. So tune in for just that, if nothing else. But I appreciate the support. I appreciate you all showing up when we have a special guests like this. We're going to push for more of this, by the way. Okay. We are cashing in the Common Power chips now. And before, it used to be kind of a thing that we used to do for just the teams. We used to have just the volunteer teams that were traveling to knock on doors, have an elected official come in and talk to them, which is now crazy. Now I think about it in hindsight. So we're going to open these things up. We're going to explicitly ask these elected officials to come in and talk to our full community. And I'm going to be having conversations like this. And in an era where we're defining who the Democratic Party is, I think it's exciting to talk to some of these people that are helping to shape it. So keep joining for these. Thank you all. I hope to see you tomorrow, if you can make it. Otherwise, I'll see you in the streets all around America.
Thank you, everybody.
Let's do it.